Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Zena, the random cheesy bot. And taking on Zena is going to be the Terran cheesy bot. Not why, not really, or pardon me, not what, not really, it's why. The Terran cheese bot made to put bots through their paces. And we'll see how it's going to do today against Zena. Zena is quite a darn good Protoss bot. Pardon me, a good random bot. Its Protoss is quite formidable, even though it's not updated too much these days. But yes, we'll just see if Y is going to be able to cheese out its opponent. One thing that I do kind of want to touch on as far as like ladder results and that kind of thing is Zena is a bot that chooses its win rate based on, chooses its build based on win rate. Pardon me. So if it's got a strategy that just doesn't work versus an opponent, it will just ditch it. It's very, very good for the ladder. It doesn't necessarily indicate the strength of the strategy overall, just more so versus specific opponents. But it works very well to maintain a high ladder win rate. And so presumably Zena is doing the best build it can, as it opens up with a cannon and a forge. So most likely going for a Stargate build against Y, as Y is going for double proxy Rax Reaper. So we'll see if it's able to make some magic happen, maybe run by one of the cannons, something like that. But my hopes are not too high, just because cannons cause problems when it comes to trying to go for a Reaper rush. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, go ahead, click that like button, as I think we're going to be getting Y building a command center so it can try and proxy a planetary fortress. Maybe that's the move. Just land a command center on top of the cannon. Of course, time is of the essence, as Zena is going for the Tempest Rush build. Looks like the Reaper of Y is going to try and path by the cannon. Oh, I'll just path up there, and it runs into the cannon. It's interesting how the first one went up the ramp, ate a cannon shot, and now Y, I guess it's trying to attack the cannon from the furthest angle, if I had to guess. So it's jumping up there. It's like, all right, let's go fight that. Oh, never mind, as the Reapers are all dying. So a very difficult start for the blue Terran bot. But yes, I only finished half my thought. Y, on the other hand, unlike Zena, just cycles builds, I believe. So I think it plays the same one if it wins, but if it gets a loss or something, it will switch build. And so that basically means that it could have 5 builds. I think this is how it operates. It could have 5 builds, 1 that wins versus an opponent 50% of the time, and 5 that win, say, 0%, or 4 that win 0% of the time. And then basically it's going to lose a lot more than if it just did that 50% build, because it's going to cycle through the other builds that maybe don't perform as well. And so my hopes are not super high for this one, for Y. You guys requested more cheesy games, though, so I figured I'd just click on a Y versus Zena replay. If you are a bot author, by the way, and you happen to see an interesting replay, send it my way, as I will happily cast it. Zena is researching Teutonic Destabilizers, which will allow this Tempest to kill the command center quite quickly. The CC is going to try and land, not able to land there. It goes to land in a different location, however, it clearly doesn't take into account static defense. If it had floated like near the gases instead, I think it might have actually had a chance to get up, particularly if it was building SCVs to repair itself. But no planetary today, unfortunately. And we'll see if Y can maybe pull out a miracle victory or something. But I'm quite concerned. It's not building any anti-air. It's just been feeding Reapers into the grinder. We do get a Cyclone on the way, which can be the start of defending against Tempest. Particularly if we do get that mag field accelerator upgrade, as Cyclones are actually phenomenal against Tempest. and they are one of the best units that Terran wants to defend Tempest Rush. Reaper is going to potentially shut down this expansion of Zena. That would be quite nice. Looks like they are prioritizing hunting workers, though. If it just attacked the Nexus at this point, that would arguably be better. The Cyclone is out. Looks like it's just going to attack and not address the Tempest Elephant in the room. Who knows, maybe if the Cyclone counterattacks, the Tempest will be pulled back. Meanwhile, Y's like, oh, I'm under attack. I better start a new command center. Zena's Nexus. We'll see if anything can be done about that as we get a cannon going up at the front. Reaper is going to attack that. Cyclone comes on in. A second Cyclone is about to pop on out. This one might not get across the map, unlike its comrade. Locks onto the Oracle, starts eating some shots. The Oracle doesn't break the lock on, so that's a kill. And then the Cyclone does just get out of there. Meanwhile, these other SCVs are like, oh god, what do we do? As the mining in the main base of Y is totally disrupted, so it will not have a lot more stuff to produce. Cyclone locks onto the Nexus. That's not good, as the Tempest is now pursuing this Cyclone. It's got it in a corner. It does take quite a few Tempest shots to kill a Cyclone, but at the end of the day in this game, the Tempest are not being addressed. It looks like this one may go down. The Cyclone doesn't actually stay out of range of the Tempest. I'm not sure how the dynamic works there, because this is the air circle, right? This is how far they can shoot air-wise. It's much shorter ground-wise, so I'm a bad StarCraft commentator. I don't know the actual vision range of a Tempest against a Cyclone range, which a Cyclone can shoot further than it can see, but can it see further than the Tempest can shoot? I want to say yes, so I do wonder if there's potential for micro improvement there on Y against Tempest anyway. And that if a Cyclone locks onto a Tempest, it should just, in theory, be able to kite it endlessly. Maybe I'm wrong. But yes, the main base of Y is not mining. The SCVs are being killed by these two Tempests. There's a command center. It is not going to start mining and trying to rebuild. Y is sending it across the map, even though it doesn't have the pocket change to do anything with it. So we've got a victory for our first game. I don't even know if I finished my intro on this one. Leave a comment, more cheese if you want to see more ridiculous games like this. We do get good cheesy games. We do get not so good cheesy games. I'd say this one was just a cheesy game. That's all I can say. We are going to have another match after this one, though. So yeah, stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe. And if you do want to support these daily bot videos, consider becoming a YouTube member. It goes a long way. Okay, here we are into our second match of the day, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be really taking on Y. So two cheesy bots, and one of them just said, might be a worker rush. That seems a little suspicious. We do get a random probe, though, that seems to have missed the memo on this one, as really is going for what looks to be a Zozo-esque probe rush. Meanwhile, Y seems to be going for a, I don't know, Y Reaper build, I think. This is probably the same build as last time, same position for the racks. I do wonder if that's hard-coded or not. There's one rack starting as the depot finishes up, but Y is going to have to pull probes against this worker rush. It's going to be fighting 9 probes. The idea behind this is that really builds up an economy while it is defending against this rush. So Y will now have to fight with SCVs. Oh no, does Y not fight? Does Y have no programming to counter worker rushes? It's just running some of them away. The others are trying to go back to work and pretend this never happened. I think the big question for this game is, do we get a Reaper out? And that is going to be a difficult question to answer, as some gas is being mined. The probes are chasing a single SCV who's taking one for a team. There's a slacker here, and let's see, gas being mined. We're at 20 gas. The Blue Terran bot needs 50 to start its first Reaper. It's at 28-32, so it's being mined a little bit. Probes are interrupting it now, but then SCVs run off. More SCVs get assigned to gas. We have a gateway on the way up for really, though. This is just a brother bot cheese off, and I'm not really sure what to make of this. I find it a bit strange that the SCVs aren't fighting, but I guess it's one of those things. If you're cheesing most of the time, Why bother programming in anti-cheese? And oh no, we're literally one gas trip away from having enough gas for Y to start a Reaper, but it's not gonna happen. Get a worker in the gas. Do it, mine it. Get in there, someone, anyone. We need the gas. And I don't think it's gonna happen, so Y does get hard stuck. The probes have probably won this one, as there is a macro transition, a nice saturated base back at home. And yeah, turns out worker rushes are pretty strong, and you can totally just cripple a bot if you rush it. I do like the response. I think it's not really a response. I think it's just the workers trying to save themselves from the horde of angry floating tasers. Yeah, I like the idea, because like one SCV is totally distracting so many of the probes. So in theory, that could really be exploited with a counter worker rush. It would be difficult to program, but in theory, it could be done. Yeah, nicely done by Really, though. Able to defeat the Terran cheese bot by cheesing itself. I wonder how this game works if Y does get out a single Reaper. Like, is that enough to fight the good fight? It's difficult to say. But we are going to have another game after this one, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, just short, cheesy games. This is because you guys were like, yeah, I love cheese games. And here we are. Okay, here we are into the next game. It's going to be what? Taking on Y. So I didn't plan on it, but we are having Y 3 times today. And we'll see. Maybe its cheese luck will be a bit better this time. We're getting 3 SCVs instead of 2, which makes me think we're going to be getting potentially Marines instead of Reapers. Reapers or Marines, which don't require gas. But then we're also getting a Ravager rush from what? This is a cheese that's, or at least it was common in Legacy of the Void for a long time. It was used incredibly frequently, but we haven't had as much of it in bot matches. And it's interesting because it's one of those cheeses that in theory a bot, like if it places the Overlord perfectly and has the instant Corrosive Biles all the time, maybe you could get a pretty strong build. But instead we are going to be having this cheese off, and I don't know, Men with Gun might be alright, as the racks are almost done. Meanwhile, the Roach Warren is just starting now, so we're at least a minute away from a Roach, whereas a Marine is probably more like, I guess, 20, 30 seconds. But then the question is going to be, does what fight with the Roach if it builds one, or is it going to be like, I need gas for a Ravager, or is it just going to send it across the map? It's difficult to say. However, it is just a triple racks for now from Y. It does notably have the minerals to start a 4th racks. Instead, it's getting up an orbital, and maybe is going to transition behind this build. So the Blue Terran bot maybe won't have the production that actually it could have, because it's going to be floating some minerals. It's going for 2 more supply depots, but a human player can proxy Marine with 4 racks. A spot that's speed mining could definitely make use of more. Still, though, the Marines are coming on in. They're going to try and fight 3 Ravagers and a Roach. The Blue Terran bot is coming in, disrupting mining. That's a big deal, even if the Marines die. Instead, they are skirmishing with the Ravagers. 1 Ravager about half HP. The Marines are collectively going, I don't know about this one, as they do split off. The production for the Blue Terran bot is still going. The mineral bank is still climbing as well, as we've got 300 minerals in the bank. I'm curious if this is just going to be an expansion starting up for Y behind this, as something should be getting done with this money, or maybe it's just not the most efficient build. Yeah, command center it will be. So that does not bode well for the Blue Terran bot, as of course it really just needs units. 3 Marines actually are going into the main base. Roaches are not responding. I guess they're just programmed to sit here until what transforms them. I was thinking, by the way, I just had a genius thought, guys. If the author of What, Why, and Really does create a conglomerate cheese bot on the ladder. Random bot using these. It should be called Maybe. I think that's a good idea. If they were to make a random bot using them. Although their naming schemes really are something special, so it wouldn't actually disappoint me. Or I imagine they'll come up with something that is just as good, if not better. We do have an eBay on the way for Y, presumably to get some marine upgrades. Maybe it'll start a planetary? But I don't know if it will be able to get one up, even if it starts one. A planetary would be very interesting to see if it could hold off the Ravagers. Instead, I think we may just be getting that canceled. I'm not sure this CC will finish up. We are getting +1 attack, so no plans for a planetary. So it's a no planetary. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Bit of one-sided cheesy games, but it is interesting to see the dynamics between all these bots. If you guys have replays you want to send in, even if they're just short, cheesy ones, maybe it's a new cheese you're cooking up for your bot, send it my way. I'll most likely cast it. And yeah, just big thanks to everyone for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As what does take the game. So Y has a bit of a tough time against the fellow cheesy bots. I guess it just thrives on the bots that are trying to play honorable macro. However, sometimes it can be satisfying to see a cheeser get cheesed out. All right, GG.